Lawrence, thank you so much for joining us here at IMpower. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Just give me your impressions first and your perspective on how the asset management industry is developing in Abu Dhabi and at ADGM at the moment.
Yeah, well, over the past 18 months, we've seen very strong economic growth in UAE, and this is very much supported equally by the oil sector and the non-oil sector. And Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE, is very much leading that growth story. The capital of capital, as it's known, is home to 3 of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. Last year in 2022, Abu Dhabi recorded an estimated growth of 9.3% in GDP, making it one of the fastest growing economies in the MENA region and a falcon growing economy.
So with all of that in mind, what areas are you seeing as having the greatest potential for growth at the moment?
So within the asset management sector, we've seen significant interest and growth in Abu Dhabi and in particular in ADGM as a regional hub for that sector. We've seen particular strong growth in the venture capital area. So ADGM was one of the first jurisdictions in the MENA region to introduce a VC framework in 2017. And so we've been seeing strong growth in that sector. Another area of real growth is our hedge fund industry. And so we've seen some global hedge fund managers decide to call Abu Dhabi home. We had the announcement last year of Brevin Howard moving one of their largest operations globally into ADGM.
And as you're seeing growth in those areas, is local regulation and legislation managing to adapt and evolve quickly enough to facilitate that growth adequately?
I think so. We've always had an established framework for our funds and asset management industry, but we also listened to the industry and introduced new initiatives. So earlier this year we listened to the industry and introduced a private credit funds framework because we were seeing interest for fund managers, asset managers looking at establishing private credit facilities. So we introduced a framework.
In terms of regulation, obviously ESG is always an area that people are particularly interested in, and the UAE is hosting COP28 later this year. What are some of the sustainable finance regulations that are being introduced in the area, and what are you seeing in that space?
So sustainable finance has been a key strategic priority for the UAE, Abu Dhabi and ADGM. In ADGM, we actually introduced our sustainable finance agenda in 2018. It's very much got 4 key pillars: regulation, awareness, collaboration and ecosystem. So in terms of regulation, we issued a consultation paper last year on introducing a comprehensive sustainable finance regulatory framework. And this is very much about creating investment products that will channel the flow of money into sustainable investments. So we are creating two new fund categories: green funds and climate transition funds. So green funds, very much about investing in green assets, making sure that they're aligned to a taxonomy and that they have third-party attestations. But the fund type we're really excited about is the climate transition funds. Now this is very much about assisting that transition to net zero, which the UAE is committed, like other countries, to do so by 2015. And this is very much about investing in those assets that are not green, that need to become green over time. So we're looking forward to having those products being implemented very shortly.
And those perhaps sustainable or ESG priorities are actually great opportunities too, aren't they? They're not just a nicety, they're actually an opportunity to be very profitable.
Look, so as far as we sort of see it, there needs to be a lot of capital that moves into supporting that transition to net zero. And so what we see is that we create the products and hopefully our industry, both the public sector and private sector, can take advantage of that. And as you said, it's an important and critical area at the moment as we need to address and fight climate change.
And we're certainly seeing a lot of conversations around that here at IMpower. How much are you enjoying being able to have those conversations and share those ideas with your colleagues here?
Yeah, really enjoying being here with the rest of our Abu Dhabi colleagues from various other authorities that are here as well. But we're also excited because we're hosting COP28 later this year, and Abu Dhabi is also going to be hosting its second edition of its Finance Week, which will be the week before COP28. So we're looking forward to meeting people and hoping that they'll come also and visit UAE and Abu Dhabi later this year.
Lots to look forward to. Lawrence,
yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today. Great to see you.
Thank you, pleasure.